And then she gets back to me a couple days later. And she's like, I think you'd be great together. And, I can try and facilitate something, that we invite everyone to try and help set you up. But so this girl, like she's had a history with him like a long time ago. And they're going on this camping trip. And she's really just kind of like hoping to bang him one last time. And then I'll try and set you guys up.
Who would be okay with that? Oh my god, did you dye your hair?
I did.
It looks red.
It is very red.
Wait, it's almost pink. We're matching.
Yeah, it's like, I know. It's like a really cherry red, so it's kind of pinky red.
I love it.
And I love yours, of course. I know, I was thinking that because I was like, we're both going to have new hair.
Yes. New month, new hair.
Yes.
I can't believe it's fucking July.
Shit, I had a tagline and now I forgot it.
No, I was just about to ask you.
Damn it. What was it?
Did it have to do with the fact that we're recording on a holiday yet again?
It actually didn't. It had to do with my topic.
I can't help you there.
That. I know, because I thought of it yesterday when I thought that. I was like, oh, that would be a good one.
My internet is lagging a tiny bit, and it makes me nervous.
Okay, I don't know if this is exactly what it was, but it's close enough. And it will still
All
relate
right.
to the topic. All right. Hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
Welcome to Pickles and Vodka, the mental health podcast where we'll never let you down. I'm one of your co-hosts, Lauren.
I'm your other co-host, Christina. And I feel like that's a very presumptuous statement to make.
But it goes with what I'm talking about.
All right.
In the end, it will all come together.
I believe you. I have faith in you.
Okay.
I don't think you're going to let me down.
Okay, good. I sometimes worry. That's just because, I don't trust myself. I think I'll let everyone down.
I don't know what that's like.
No.
Sorry, you go ahead. I'm going to let you just take the reins.
All right. Yeah, I just realized like when it's all reversed, then it's like, oh wait, the next thing I'm supposed to ask you. So Christina, where are you at?
Wow, we're just jumping right into it. I'm better than I was doing last week.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I published my piece where I talk about coming out as queer and then the sexual assault that happened right afterwards. I kind of hinted at it last week, but it came out. I've gotten such amazing support. I was telling my therapist I feel vulnerable and powerful at the same time.
Good.
Yeah. I do feel powerful. And you know what? I hope he reads it.
Me too. Absolutely.
Aside from that, I mean, it hasn't been perfect.
He deserves to feel uncomfortable and like he screwed up, because he did.
Yeah. I want to make him so uncomfortable living underneath me. That's the power of words, y'all.
Yep.
No, I mean, I've been better than last week, but still, struggling. My therapist filled out another safety plan with me yesterday.
Okay.
So that's always fun. But yeah, what was I about to say? Oh, my sister and I applied for an apartment in Richmond.
Yay!
So, we're really hoping we get it. It's funny because we show up at 9 a.m. So we wake up at 5 a.m. to get there by 9 a.m. because we live like an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to us, it was a group showing, which I've never seen before. Have you?
I feel like I might have done something like that a long time ago.
Maybe you did in Chicago. I feel like in big cities.
Yeah, that's what I feel like I might have in Chicago. Yeah. Definitely not for years and years.
So there were like 6 other people looking at this apartment with us. It was like a tour guide. And 3 of the people immediately seemed not really into it. But there was one other couple. And it's funny because they were obviously queer. And Carolyn and I kept making jokes and they would like laugh at our jokes. And like part of me was like, oh, you guys are so cool. But part of me was like, no, this is ours.
Yes.
Go away. So we got home and we immediately submitted the application. But I'm so nervous since I know we have competition. We'll see. Maybe even by the time this comes out, we'll know. It's hard to say.
Well, I remembered as you were talking, I had not quite the same thing, but I had something like that here a long time ago where it was kind of like people were staggered by like 15 minutes, but that meant that they all overlapped.
Awkward.
Yeah, so it would be like I'm looking downstairs while these other people are looking upstairs, and then other people are down in the basement. And it's just kind of like, it's like they had a way to just like move us all through so there'd be multiple in the same time. But
I
yeah,
can imagine if you were a real estate agent and you had to manage all those people and stagger them, like that sounds
yeah.
stressful.
But it reminded me when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, because, I was passing other people and it's like, I'm going to be faster than you. I'm going to apply right away.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
literally, we got home and
I'll fight you right now.
I started filling out the application like at the gas station on the way home.
Yeah.
But it's really cute. It's a duplex. It's 2 stories. It was built in like the late 1800s, we
Oh,
think.
wow. Uh-huh.
And so old as fuck. It's got tons of character. It's really artsy and quirky. The only thing that I didn't like was that online it has like gorgeous hardwood floors. And then
Mhm.
we get there and someone had painted the hardwood floors
No!
lime green.
Why would you do that?
Heartbreaking. The guys said that if, when they move out, they should restore it to how
Okay.
it was before, but I'm like, all you can do is paint over it. Like, I don't know. It doesn't matter. We
Yeah,
still love it.
I mean, you could probably, like, if you really want to get into it, yeah, you could probably, like, remove it and sand it and refinish and blah, 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 but I doubt they're going to do that much.
No,
Yeah.
no. I even feel nervous talking about it because my brain is like, you're not going to get it because you're looking,
Because
you're
you're
putting.
excited about it.
I'm excited about it. So, of course, it's not going to work out.
Right. I know that feeling.
Yeah, but we're making moves. And today is the 4th of July, so I am avoiding everybody. My mom sent a text to our group chat, Happy 4th of July. And I just sent a picture of me wearing this shirt. It just says, no, thank you.
A bunch. Yeah.
And nobody responded to it.
Oh.
Yeah, I am not celebrating anything today. Anyway, where are you at?
Well, I will just before I get into that, yeah, piggybacking off of that, here's just another example of why I'm in a so much better place. Because we had band practice yesterday, and as we're driving home, like, first we're driving out there and see, like, this line of, like, 10 lawn chairs. I was like, is someone selling lawn chairs in the yard? And then realized that, oh, this is probably somewhere where people can see fireworks. And by the drive home, there was a ton. So clearly it's a big thing. But I can say that, around like 9:30, it must have started because, I heard it go off, but I didn't hear, like craziness, people hooping and hollering, people being stupid or anything like that. It was just, like some booms for about 30 minutes and then it was done. And I was just like, what a pleasant neighborhood. You can all just watch your fireworks and be adults about it and go home.
Meanwhile, at your old neighborhood, guns are going off.
Exactly. I was like, the 2 apartments ago, yeah, 4th of July is everybody shoots their guns up in the air and kind of ignores the fact that bullets actually come down when you shoot them up in the air. Like, there's always so much issues because people just think, oh, shoot them in the air.
Anyway.
Yeah. But, moving on. So I had Monday kind of a replay of that time where I sort of got like told what's up at work and said, yeah, like it was kind of the same thing.
Like a reprimand?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. The thing before had been like my boss felt like I wasn't responding to emails.
Okay.
And that part I was a valid point. And also, I think it kind of annoyed me because like now I feel like that still is on the back of my mind. Like when he first said it, then I knew I was like, okay, I do understand this probably is happening because I know in my brain I'm thinking that I'm annoying the shit out of everybody by saying, yep, saw this, okay, yeah, I'll work on it. They feel like that's the kind of thing that people just read over and like delete, like quit talking to me. I don't need you to say okay every time I send you an email. So, just knowing like, all right, you want that, then I'll start doing that. And also, I know when he had talked to me like 2 years ago about this stuff, then I knew that like I'd just been frustrated. I was like, yep, definitely in meetings, I had made some kind of like short-tempered comments because I was just getting annoyed. I was just back from fucking treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah, expecting me to just like jump right in and be 100% immediately. And so this time I was kind of like, all right, I feel like I'm always in a pretty good mood. I come with a good attitude to work now. And I thought that this was still on the back of my mind. And maybe it's not 100% perfect, but I felt like I was still, better at that in general. But apparently, like he must have got a bug up his ass. And what I got is like some email. And granted, I am so fucking busy from everything, which everybody there knows. And he was like, so I sent this a week ago asking you to get back to me by the end of the week. And he's like, and when I sent it, I kind of knew that I wasn't going to get a response. So I set myself a reminder to check on it a week from now. I just felt like,
Ew.
yeah, it was like, so you didn't say like, I'm having a problem with this with Lauren again. Maybe I'll nudge her and say, hey, remember when we talked about this a couple of years ago? I'm kind of seeing it again. Instead, you're like, I'll set a trap for her.
That's really shitty.
Yeah.
Wow. How did you respond?
I mean, did what I had to do there, kissed his ass, blah blah blah.
People pleasing.
Well, and that's also keeping your job.
I was gonna say it's a survival tactic.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
But
that's also called keeping your job.
But luckily, since then, we've had that second accounting person added, and she's like the director of finance, so she is kind of like above me at this point, and her and I meet at least once a week and talk, and she knew like this was going to happen. And at this point, we've been working together 2 years. We get along really well, so I felt like I was able to be more candid with her, like, hey, it's a legit request, I understand, but I really was kind of disappointed about how it went about, and she's like, yeah, and she totally like agreed with that and everything. So it was, it was good to at least have someone be like, oh, yeah, I see that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Validation.
Mm-hmm. And it was nice that she, she's also there because she sits in on some of their like manager type meetings and stuff. She's like, I think he was in like a really bad mood because of like a bunch of things that are going on. And she's just like, I'm sorry that you felt that way, but just so you know, he is not the most annoyed with you. So
okay.
Like, okay, so it's kind of a lot of people, and other people are higher on the shit list. That's good to know.
I mean, you do seem a lot less distressed about it than the last time this happened.
Well, that I will tell you, like that yesterday helped a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was real worried when you said it happened again. I was like, oh my God, no, this is the last thing she needs.
Right. I mean, that day for sure, I just was like, I'm destroyed. Especially, yeah, because I'm thinking like, do I have to worry about my job? When you haven't even made your first mortgage payment yet, that's really not a good time to lose your job.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So yeah, I was spiraling and stressing for a couple days, and now it's a little better.
All right. We'll take a little better.
Yes. But still thinking about that, we can move right in.
Oh boy.
And I'm hoping that my topic is going to be cathartic for both of us to talk about.
I'm already into it.
Because it is betrayal.
I wasn't expecting to light up that much.
Me neither, but I love it.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. What could have possibly prompted you to pick this topic?
I don't know. I mean, it couldn't be that. It couldn't be my boyfriend keeping his dog. There's so many things it could not be.
Couldn't be us.
And I knew you could not relate at all right now.
Yeah. No, not one bit.
Right.
Oh man, I'm excited.
So pretty much what I wanted to do is I wrote down kind of like different groups or catalysts that you could feel betrayal from. And I just wrote friends, family, the world, yourself / your body. And I would love to just go down the list and talk about each one.
Okay.
So friends, I think relationships could fit in there too.
Yeah.
Some ways that you felt betrayed.
I mean, oh man, I think when I think of betrayal, I think because I grew up Christian, I immediately think of a giant betrayal like Judas, like but in real life, I don't think I've ever had anything like that. I mean, obviously with my ex, I trusted him and he raped me. That's a huge betrayal.
That's a pretty big one.
But he also was like, the more I think about it, he was letting that side of him show for a very long time. I just was choosing to ignore it or overlook it. Like, I don't know. I didn't want it to be true.
Well, of course.
But I feel like with most people, I wouldn't have used the word betrayal. I would have used the word disappointment. Like,
Same.
people have disappointed me so many times. Like, I'm trying to think of a specific example. I mean, when I meet new people, for instance, I get really, really excited and go all in because I love cool people and I want
Yeah.
to be friends with them. And then there's been situations where they have different values or they aren't as into it as I am, and that feels disappointing. I wouldn't go as far to say as it's a betrayal, though.
It's kind of a fine line because I feel, yeah, like I thought of that a lot. I'm the same way, and I thought of like friends that I feel like aren't as in it as I am, and cancel plans last minute all the time. Had, you know, like friends just kind of like straight up ghost me and things like that. And it's like it's disappointment, but I think of betrayal as kind of like putting yourself forward that you are one way and then suddenly being a different way.
Hmm.
In which case, even if it was a long betrayal, because you said, you know, like there were signs for a long time, you didn't go into the relationship with your ex thinking that that's what he was.
I have an
Like
example.
at some point it switched.
I have an example. So, when I lived in Austin, I was 20 years old. I moved into a shitty duplex with a girl I met on Facebook. So, that was always supposed to be a temporary situation.
Yeah.
The reason I moved to Austin was for my ex, who was in a band. So I knew all his bandmates. One of his bandmates had a girlfriend who
Hmm.
I really liked. She was cool, artsy. I mean, I think I low key had a crush on her now that I think about it. But I really wanted to be her friend. And so imagine my delight when, towards the end of my lease, she was like, "Hey, do you want to get a place together?"
Hmm.
And I was like, "Yes. Oh my God, that's amazing." Now, she came from money.
Okay.
And so she was kind of a little more blasé about the whole process. Like, we saw a couple apartments and they were way out of my price range. And she was like, "Oh, you know, my parents can probably help us with the fees and everything. Like, you'll be fine." But I had this gut feeling like, this feels weird, but I really wanted it to work out. So I just went along with it. I talked to my landlord, broke my lease early. He was
Hmm.
mad at me. I mean, understandably so, but he was an asshole anyway. And so I did that and I told her, and she was like, "Oh, it's not going to work out after all. We can't get a place together." I don't even remember what she said exactly. She just pulled out very suddenly. And that did feel like a huge betrayal. I don't know. I had to really scramble
Yeah.
to find my next place. And luckily, my next place ended up being the place where I would meet my best friends. And
Okay.
like, it worked out.
Yeah, but
But
you got put in a really shitty position last minute.
it was really shitty. And because, she had a safety net, I feel like she didn't realize how much it could have destroyed me.
And I feel like that, you know, like you said, like you thought this person was really cool. Like you were excited about like getting to know her better. I feel like when like
Yeah.
those kind of feelings get involved too, then it's not just like, oh fuck, how am I gonna live? But it's like, and I wanted you to like me.
Exactly. I was,
Yes.
picturing us being roommates and, our boyfriends were close and we were close. And it was just
Mm-hmm.
this whole fantasy that just wasn't reality. And so, yeah, my opinion of her changed a lot after that. And that whole group of people ended up being awful.
Yeah.
And a year after that, I don't think I was speaking to any of them, including my boyfriend, which turned out for the best.
Right. I thought of something as you were talking. This is good because I felt like most of the stories I was coming up with, I was like, I know I've said all these on the podcast. This is a brand new one.
Ooh.
Even though it's kind of silly, it was my friend Kim, who I've talked about her before. I mean, that's a huge betrayal. She's the one that just like straight up stopped talking to me at, I don't know, we were like 36, 37 then, and we'd been friends since we were 12.
That was the one you were talking about last week, right? That just you didn't
Yeah,
know why
yeah.
it happened and you still don't know
Yeah,
why? Yeah.
exactly. But so sometime before that, when we're living in Chicago, and this is like what you were saying, I'm like, the way she was starting to act towards me, maybe there were a lot of red flags that she was just going to straight up drop me like that. But most of my time in Chicago, I dated people here and there, but you know, there was nothing that ever lasted more than a couple months at the most. Half the time I felt like I'd get like 2 dates and then they'd just be like, "Oh no, I don't think that I want to run away and marry you, so I guess it's not going to work out." That's how it seemed like guys were reacting. It was like, I remember I was getting annoyed at that. Like, okay, I'm not 100% perfect on day one, so yeah, I guess you should find someone else.
Wow.
Don't
Also,
get to know someone.
you don't give me the vibes of someone who's like, I want to get married and settled right away.
Well, no, I was thinking from them that it's kind of, like they go on a first date and they're like, "Well, I can't picture a future with you for the rest of my life today. So, I guess that means you're not perfect. So, I guess I should find that person that is."
Yikes.
Yeah.
That
But
is not at all true these days on dating apps anymore.
right. But so she knew. I mean, she's the one that got married like when she was 20 and her husband was 18. And there's, as far as I know, they're still married today. They're one of those weird, like super young relationships that just worked. And I think like some of our friends were starting to get kind of finally get coupled off. And she knew that I was like frustrated with it, that it's like, yeah, I mean, I want someone like that in my life. And so we went to a party once and met this guy. She'd met him a few times. He was the friend of the sister of her neighbor.
Okay. I'm not
This
going to
will
remember that.
no, but this will come back.
Okay.
He, like I wasn't going expecting anything. I was just joining for something to do. And he and I just like, we started talking and totally like clicked like so well. I was just like, I'm having a really fun time talking to you. And thought like, well, I've got this kind of like connection then through, my friend who's been my friend for 20 years and should want to help me out. And she even said like, wow, like you guys were really getting along well. And he like was just kind of like talking to you the whole time. So, could be really interested. And I was like, yeah, you can help me out with that. And then she gets back to me a couple days later and she's like, yeah, like I think you'd be great together. And, I can try and like facilitate something, that we invite everyone to try and help set you up. But so this girl who's the sister of her neighbor, who she was also friends with, she's like, but, like she's had a history with him like a long time ago. And they're going on this camping trip. And she's really just kind of like hoping to bang him one last time. And then I'll try and set you guys up.
Who would be okay with that?
Exactly.
I mean, it's not like you're dating, he's not your property, blah, 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 whatever. No, that's not something you say to someone you're trying to set that person up with.
No, and it felt like she thought that that was like perfectly justified. And of course I would, like wait for this girl who I've known for 2 months, and support that. Like, yeah, go ahead. I think that you should, like get your jollies out one last time. And then,
Get your jollies out.
And then my friend who's just hung around for 20 years, she's okay. Maybe then I'll help her out.
That's so weird. Ew.
So yeah, I mean, I believe I talked to her later, and I don't think they did. Which, had I been able to ever meet up with him again, that would have been in his favor. That he didn't say like, okay, let's bang once, because then it would have just been like, well, now I don't want this relationship anyways.
Right? Sounds like you dodged a bullet.
But the main thing I felt like, yeah, was her. I was just like, really, this girl you've known for like a month puts this plan out and you're like, yeah, I'll help you out.
Yeah, that does feel like a betrayal.
Yeah.
Man, we're gonna spend so long on this first category because as you're talking, God, there's 2 stories of guys that betrayed me, but the guy that I was with before Brett, I met him right when I moved to Virginia, and right away, like you said, we just clicked. Really liked him. We both worked a lot, so we only saw each other like once a week, which is fine. But that was the guy that, like, one weekend, he just randomly texted me, hey, I can't be the guy that you need.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I talked about it on the podcast forever ago. And that made me angry. I was like, what the fuck? And then, yeah, there was a fling I had in Seattle where I think that's the closest to puppy love I've ever had. Just obsessed with each other for like 3 weeks straight. And then he just ghosted me. Did not respond to my texts. Like, I mean, that's what ghosting is.
Well, yeah.
But like, it was so weird. He even was talking about moving to Virginia with me. Like, that's...
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. It was never going to work out. But, it's always men.
I know, because like one of just like my generic examples, and this is more in like my teens and 20s when I felt like friends always would say like, oh, like nothing's going to change because I get a boyfriend, I get a girlfriend, and it
Oh my
does.
god. It
It
always
does.
does.
I know. And
Yeah.
yeah, it just got to the point where it's like people say, I'm like, don't lie to me. I
Yeah, it's
know it's
gonna
going
change.
to. Yeah.
God, not us just like regurgitating our relationship trauma.
Right. But you were starting to touch on it, at least, the religious upbringing. What about family?
Oh my god. The biggest one, honestly, is my dad
Yeah.
because he's someone I used to look up to a lot. Out of everyone in the family, I would say we were the closest. I always thought of him as kind of progressive because he believed in women pastors
Mm.
and
Mm-hmm.
he had friends of all races and we grew up Republican, so like at the time I was a Republican. And so I didn't think there
Yeah,
was
I
anything.
was nothing at that time, but I think knowing my parents, I was like, okay, but I understand that Republican is the correct party.
Exactly.
That's yeah.
I couldn't have explained like what
Yeah.
the values of being a Republican were,
Nope,
but
I just knew that that's what you should do.
yeah. So yeah, that all changed in 2016 when I found out he voted for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he's incredibly smart, well-spoken. He has a PhD in humanities, for crying out loud. He was a pastor during the AIDS epidemic. He was one of the only pastors to,
Mm.
go to the bedside of men with AIDS and,
Yeah.
minister to them. So it was just a real shock to me, even though, again, now that I look back, it was so obvious because, he made us listen to Rush Limbaugh as kids.
Yes.
Like all this stuff. Um, and that felt like a huge betrayal. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, all of my betrayals are so obvious. Like, it was obvious that they were coming, but to me, my admiration or love for the person kind of blinded me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't that it was so out of character for them, it's that I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
it sounds like the way you describe his past that it's kind of like it's a similar thing that I was going to say. It's like you don't expect it to that degree because for me, and I know I've at least I now described the second part of this story, but I was thinking of how I grew up, and I feel like the times that as say a preteen and a teenager that I got the most in trouble, like the times I remember my parents just sitting me down and yelling at me forever, like grounding me for weeks, just being like clearly angry are times when they did not like how I was treating others. Like basically, if they thought that I was being rude to a friend and they saw it,
Mm.
or hurting the friend's feelings. One of the times I know when I got like a major punishment, I can't link which one's in my head. It might be the one where my dad moved everything out of my room so that there was nothing in there.
Oh my
I had to go to my
god.
room. Yes.
What did you do?
So I was at a wedding and I had a third cousin my age who I got along with really well. And, and it was that side of the family. So she was going to be there. And I knew that and was really excited. And just by circumstance, this girl that lived down the street from me that I was friends with, I think I did talk about this before. We'll keep going. She must have been related to someone in one of the families. And she happened to be there. My third cousin, is from out of town, don't get to see her all the time. She had met this girl when she came and visited me once and didn't like her.
Okay. I
So,
don't remember this at all.
okay. So, this girl, she's my friend, but it's an 8-minute walk to her house. I see her all the time. My third cousin, I never get to see. And so, of course, like just knowing like, okay, she doesn't like this other girl. So, we were all of like 12 or 13 then. So I mean, we did like she got the keys to her mom's car, and we just kind of like hid out in the car and listened to music and stuff like
Oh,
that.
that's so wholesome. Excuse me.
Yes, but then that other friend that was there, what happened when we got home is my parents are super angry because they're like, we saw her just sitting alone and bored, and you should have included her, and you could tell, like that she was hurt and blah blah blah, and you did this, and that's terrible, and you can't treat people like that. And
Okay.
yeah, so I got in major trouble for that. But I think of it as like this is all my life. This is kind of the values that my parents said is so like super strong in them, and think of others, and hurting others is bad. Paying attention to their feelings is good. And then, as you know, I go, what, like last summer to that big family reunion where they're so proud of themselves for their Vote Trump stickers that say "fuck your feelings."
Oh my god. Wow, knowing that story, that's just
Yeah.
mind-blowing. Oh god.
Because that was around the time where I'm like, it's not just, like my dad's political views and who he's voting for. It's kind of like realizing, like, it's the total opposite of what you taught me to be all my life.
Yeah.
Like, that was the big betrayal.
Oh my god, I have so many thoughts swirling around right now about the hypocrisy and
Uh-huh.
I mean, were those values even what they meant in the first place? You know?
Exactly.
Or did
Like, did you
like
just decide one day it's not that important, or did you only think it's important when you can, like, lord it over your children?
you know what they
Or
care about is appearances, not
exactly.
really
Oh,
feelings.
yeah.
Oh my god, I'm still reeling from the passing of that bill yesterday.
Ugh, I know.
I can't even talk about that fucking man. This country has betrayed everyone. Yeah, what was I gonna say? I don't know. But yeah, my dad is the one that's really like fresh, and because
Yeah.
I mean the thing that really kind of made me lose a lot of all my respect for him was, he is a huge supporter of Israel. He always has been.
Mm-hmm.
Because like all growing up, their Christian values are like, well, the pro-life thing.
Yeah.
All they do is talk about the children and save the children,
Mm-hmm.
and then they also believe that these kids on the other side of the world should be blown up, like it's fine.
Yeah.
And it's just insane to me. He has
Yes.
Netanyahu's memoir in his office. He looks up to this guy, and it's just like, it's so disgusting, and it does feel like a huge betrayal. But is it a betrayal if that's who he was all along?
True. I don't
I'm
know.
ranting now. This
Yeah, but when I think of, like my family's very strong on the pro-life thing too. But
Ugh.
that was another thing that it was just like, yeah, but I did just kind of grow up with that. Although I don't think they've ever, like thought about it, and don't to this day. The idea that people, yeah, are so like, don't murder babies, and then like, but they don't want to do anything to take care of the kids once they're born.
No.
And I don't know if that's a betrayal. I think that's just like, that's more like a hypocrisy. Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, my family has been very loyal to me over the years in terms of they care about me no matter who I am or what I do. Like I don't want to defend them, but I also think there haven't been any big betrayals. Like I know a lot of friends who come out as queer and they're disowned.
Yeah.
Like that hasn't happened to me.
Because
I
I
don't
think we're
know.
kind of the same way about that too, where it's like, I don't want to just like sit here and badmouth them, because yeah, it's like I've never been kicked out. I never like feared that I would, like they're always gonna be there in some
If
way.
anything, I feel like they probably think I betrayed my
Mm.
values.
Oh, yeah.
And that is hard to think about.
I wonder, oh wow, since you said that, then I'm just like, I wonder if my mom ever thinks that way, because she's the one that, especially, I feel like in the last few years, has just gone like hyper, like everything is like, it's God's way, yay, we love it. Like she can't go like a sentence without talking about something like that. And she knows she hasn't brought it up in a long time, but like in the past, then yeah, she's gotten on me for like, oh, you don't go to church. Or even when I felt like, I was like, I don't know, but she should maybe like feel good that I said like I still kind of like believe in some sort of like supreme being that like fits a God profile. I can't get down with any organized religion. They all have issues that I don't agree with. And she's like, well, if you believe in God, why not just be Catholic? Like, that's the craziest logic I've ever heard. Those two things are not
Excuse
mutually
me?
exclusive at all.
Oh my god, I can't.
But I
That's
wonder, but
crazy.
but you got me thinking, because that made me think like, so does that mean like maybe she's thinking, like I raised her in this good Catholic faith and now she's not anymore? But the same thing like we've been kind of like saying is she might not have been aware, but I don't even remember as a kid feeling, like a connection to Catholicism. It was just like, okay, we go to church. I guess there's heaven. I'd like to go there. That's like, even as a little kid, that's about as far as it went for me.
I really did feel like a traitor because I was really deep in it.
I was very
And
nervous because I felt like God was watching me at all times.
oh
I felt like
yeah,
I was being spied on.
low key, I still feel like that.
Because when you're a little kid, you can only just kind of like perceptualize it as, just like, it's just a big dude up there. Like people have described saying, like, I don't know, it's a presence. We don't understand everything, the same way that you can, I don't know, explain Santa Claus. But when you're a kid, it's just like, I don't know, some guy, like my grandpa is just like sitting there watching the whole world. And I was like, but maybe he's not watching when I do the things I'm not proud of. Because look, think of how many people he's got to watch.
He didn't tune into the Lauren channel that day.
Exactly. I was like, I hope he was looking some other way. Maybe up in Canada while I was doing this.
Oh my god, that's funny. Are we the traitors?
Right.
What's the next category?
The world. How has the world betrayed you? I have two big examples.
Please.
I mean, like, I know we can get into like specifics of why this is so upsetting in this like particular time, but I do just feel like as a broad in general feeling, I thought that you get a college degree and you're fine, and you have health insurance and you're fine.
Yeah, same. I mean, that's what we were taught because, I mean, yeah, our parents, at least mine, like they pushed so hard for the college degree and, get a real job right out of college and you'll be fine. And out of 7 of us, I want to say only one has had that traditional career path. We all tried it and it just didn't work. It's not feasible. Like I've had an office job, I've had health insurance. It still sucks.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't think I need to elaborate for anyone who's listening. You know.
Right. But I mean, I know. I was thinking it's like we can talk a lot about like how like health insurance is not accessible to people, but that would be like when I was younger too, just knowing like it's something that my parents had and everything. Like my assumption then was that it's just kind of like, oh, that makes like anything medical basically a non-issue, like when I was 6 and my dad had to have major surgery and stay in the hospital for like a month, then, I'm sure I assumed it's like, but since they have health insurance, it probably was what, like $20?
Yeah, we had my dad was in the military, so we had good health insurance.
Good insurance.
Yeah, we had really good insurance. And then we got used to leaning on the government to take care of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, obviously 2 years ago, I applied for disability benefits because I was unemployed and very ill. And that was a whole other deconstruction I had to go through, is realizing, oh, the government is not I can't rely on this, and even if I had gotten it, it still wouldn't have been enough to take care of me. Like people can't rely on the government, especially now. And that is a huge betrayal because, we pay taxes. We're supposed to be taken care of, but it doesn't work that way.
And it's like I felt, like I went without as an adult health insurance for so long, and I felt like I struggled to even like be able to pay for it. And
we're the lucky ones.
Yeah, and then
we're the privileged ones.
And then once I can, I find out things about, like pre-existing conditions and, and like out of network, not covered, and all this you have to pay, and insurance randomly canceling on you. Might have done a whole episode about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was just like, but I thought once I got it, I was supposed to be okay. Like, why do I even have this shit?
That is a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's so many ways that the world has betrayed me. I mean, I think getting really existential, the idea that good people are rewarded and bad people are punished, the idea of justice, I mean, I really grew up thinking that was a thing. And
me too.
Now I see that it's the complete opposite.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it does sound like I was born yesterday when I say that, but it's still feels like a huge betrayal.
Yeah, it feels like it shouldn't have surprised me as much as it did, but learning
Yeah.
like how much just being a rich middle-aged white man,
It
straight,
pays to be
yeah,
evil,
hmm
turns out.
yeah,
It's the opposite of, like, all the books and movies we were shown where good triumphs over evil and the rebels are always the winners. And, like, that's actually not how it works. Like, we are the evil empire.
yeah. And that, that same with the family thing, it felt like what I was being taught is like it's more important to be a good person and then good things will happen to you. And it's like, no, it's more important to have money.
Yeah,
So let's move on to the one that I'm most excited to talk about, which
good,
is
because
betrayal by yourself and your body.
oh
Because I
god.
kind of have a hot take on this, but I want to
Oh,
hear from you first.
please. Oh no, I mean, I'm still spiraling from the last one. I've just been, like, steadily spiraling more as this episode goes on. I want to hear your hot take though, while
Okay.
I think about it.
Okay. I just felt like it might be like the reversal of like something that you might say or what you might have
Oh, okay.
expected. Yeah.
I mean, how have I felt betrayed by my body? I mean, obviously, the whole, like, being a sexual being, like,
Mm,
that is something that it's really hard for me because I was taught that, like, sex before marriage is bad, and if you have sexual thoughts, you need to suppress them. And then now everyone's like, "Oh, sex is good, and sex positivity, and love your body," and it's very mixed messaging.
yeah.
Even in my almost mid 30s, I'm like, I still feel betrayed when I don't know. I might cut this because I don't really know what I'm trying to say. It's almost like I feel betrayed just by the fact that I have a body.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I expect myself to be this perfect being without any needs, and my body should be able to do everything I want it to, and I should be able to control it. And then obviously when that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
I don't know if
No,
that.
that is exactly what I was thinking, is that like that I felt like is the obvious direction to go in. And I feel like people who have dealt with a lot of like different health struggles, then they feel like betrayed by their body in the ways that it is defective to them.
Well, and your mind is part of your body
Yeah, of
also.
course.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely
Yeah,
feel
I've definitely
betrayed by
felt
my
betrayed by
mind.
my mind. Agreed.
Oh my god.
The one I was thinking when I thought of that is I was like, but the interesting thing is I feel like I have felt most betrayed by my body doing what it's supposed to and being healthy.
Ooh, say more
And
about that.
and that's what I thought of because of, like, and maybe that is like a co-betrayal between my mind and my body, because
Hmm.
my mind is fighting against me, and I feel like its ways, like you see people that like are experiencing like such severe depression that they can't get up and they can't shower and they can't get out, or obviously, like with the eating disorders, then it's like your body starts to fail you. And I feel, like mine, as we've talked about, is kind of like ultra resilient to a lot of those things.
Yeah,
And
same.
that's where I almost like end up feeling betrayed, because I'm just like, well, I know that my brain is fighting against me and it is like just barely hanging on at this point. And if my body would just show a reason why, then
Hmm.
everyone would see like the why this is a trouble, and I would, like have to do something about it. But it's kind of, like the fact that my body won't let go is like, why? Why won't you give me this out?
Well, we never talked about a definition at the beginning of this, which I love my definitions.
I do, and I never have them.
But I feel like betrayal is when you expect one thing and the other thing happens. So,
Yeah.
like, when you hate yourself and you're starving yourself, you're being mean to yourself, you do expect your body to show that. But
Mhm.
and so it makes sense that you would feel betrayed if your brain is just so mean to you and then on the outside everything's fine.
Yeah. And you're like, I'm expecting the other shoe to drop. Like, come on. And it just won't.
Mm, oh man. And now I'm just thinking about that. It's like when someone sends us a voicemail and we're both just like I feel like I have to take
Yeah.
notes almost.
Yeah.
These days I feel betrayed by my body when it breaks down because like I expect my body to break down when I am deep into my eating disorder, but
Mhm.
like lately, as I mentioned, I'm in my 30s and my joints are starting to pain me every single day. I can't exercise as hard as I used to,
Mhm.
and it does feel like a betrayal. Like how dare my body age? Like how dare all these
Yes.
years of abuse catch up to me? Like
Yes.
like I said, I kind of expect to be this perfect being that never ages and defies nature. And that's just so like, is it a betrayal if it's doing what it's supposed to do or what it's expected of it to do?
It may not like be an actual betrayal, but I'd say it's a perceived one because
Mm,
yeah, I feel the same way. I know about things where it's just kind of like, "Ah, come on, I know that I used to have the energy to do this, so why don't I now?"
yeah.
And
And
like
we're
you
still
said, it
relatively
is.
healthy. Like,
It's just people like aging, like, okay, so my body can't do everything it did when I was 20. That's normal.
yeah.
But yeah, but the fact that we've sort of somehow like told ourselves that narrative that we're like, no, I'm sure that I'm still going to be able to do the same things into eternity.
And that kind of segues into the last thing, which is like, how have you betrayed yourself? Because I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of the reasons my body feels like it's betraying me is because, like, the hens are coming home to roost, like all of my past actions are catching up to me. And
Mhm.
like, I don't know, there's been times where I was like deep in addiction where I literally couldn't put together cohesive thoughts and I've always kind of made my intellect my identity. And so it's like I felt betrayed by my own mind, but I did it to myself.
Yeah.
And it's like, why am I hurting myself like this? Like you're supposed to be able to trust yourself and I can't. And that's
Yeah.
a huge betrayal.
Yeah, I
Or
feel
like,
like
yeah, when you make the decision that is so illogical. I don't know. So
See, I feel like I've kind of betrayed myself by the ways that I've lied to myself. And
Mm,
digging back to a past topic, I feel like a big way I've lied to myself is with people pleasing. Because, I mean, at this point, and for several years, I've known that that's not the end all be all. You're not going to get what you want because you make everybody happy. But I'm just like, but I feel like I just keep trying to tell myself that. It's
mm.
like no, but maybe this time. And it's like, then why am I so surprised when that doesn't happen and people walk all over me, take advantage of me, or anything like that? It's just kind of like, look at look at your past evidence, girl. Yeah.
That feels like another like double betrayal because it's like you're betraying yourself, but also people are betraying you by not reacting to your people pleasing. Like,
Yeah.
why don't you like me?
And also going back to the growing up family betrayal that we were taught that it's like if you're good to people, they'll be good to you, you know.
It's not how the world works.
Mm.
I'm trying to think of other ways I have betrayed myself. I feel like I betrayed or I used to feel like I betrayed my younger self
Yeah.
for turning out the way that I did, for
Mhm.
being mentally ill, and for always, choosing the wrong relationships or the wrong careers or the wrong schools or whatever. I feel like I've just always made the wrong choices.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't made those choices. And at this moment, I don't really regret anything. I wouldn't do it that way again.
Same. I
Like,
feel that too.
at
Yeah.
least I hope not. God. I do feel like I'm betraying myself when I repeat history, for sure. But sometimes we just need to fuck up multiple times.
And I'm with you. I feel like I think of it now and I don't think I have any like huge regrets. And I definitely have in the past. I've spent too much time dwelling on some. So
Yeah.
I guess that's good.
Yeah. I feel upset now.
No.
I mean, not upset. I feel like I don't know. I'm gonna be thinking a lot. I'm excited to come back to this topic and hear what our
Me
listeners
too.
think because I feel like I'll have a lot more to say that I'm just not thinking about right now.
Yeah, I am very excited to hear what people have to say on it. And so that I thought for a poll, just like 3 very short questions. Answer 1, 2, 3, however much you want. I just thought, how have you experienced betrayal? How have you betrayed yourself? How do you respond?
That's good. Oh, we're going to have like a 2-hour episode with that.
I know. I'm like, I hope people have lots to say.
Yes. Wow. Thank you. That was a spicy topic.
Yeah. I was excited about this one once I thought of it yesterday.
Don't say that.
I usually do. They know I think of them last minute.
Yeah. It's true. We literally plan this week by week, y'all. Yeah. But with that said, we do have a poll out right now that we are going to cover next week. Let me pull it up.
Cynicism?
Yes, I just posted it. I just want to get the wording right.
The other day too.
Okay, yeah. So the current poll that's due 7-11. That's easy to remember. Yeah. So this is due on Friday, 7-11. Would you classify yourself more cynical, skeptical, or pessimistic? And that's okay if it's a combination too. Why? And how do you differentiate between them?
All right.
Just go look at the poll. And that's it.
Look
that's
at my
all
wallpaper.
Yes, go look at Lauren's wallpaper. It's on the Instagram. If that's all you do with your day, just go look at Lauren's wallpaper and read my piece. And we'll see y'all next week.
Yep.
I'm going to go spiral now.
Oh, no. All right.
Bye.
Have fun.
Thanks, I will.
Yay. Bye.
Bye. If you like what you heard, tell a friend about the podcast. You can send them to picklesandvodka.substack.com, where they can listen to our entire catalog and find our newest merch. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us a voice message at speakpipe.com/picklesandvodka. My personal Instagram is at xtinajumper, and Lauren's is at Lauren_AFH. We'll see you next week.